Welcome to Factory Forward, the podcast where we explore how cutting-edge technologies are transforming modern manufacturing. In today's episode, we're joined by Fabio Bottacci, a global leader in industrial IoT, AI, and digital transformation. With over 30 years of experience spanning energy, automotive, and manufacturing, Fabio has advised major players like Bain and Company, Accenture, and the European Commission, and now leads Vinci Digital, a strategic advisory firm at the forefront of industrial innovation. In this conversation, Fabio dives deep into the evolution of digital transformation on the factory floor. From his early bets on predictive AI and IoT to what's next with generative and agentic AI, he shares practical insights into how manufacturers can move from pilots to scalable deployment. You'll also hear candid advice for technical professionals stepping into leadership, real-world lessons from early GenAI adoption, and surprising predictions about humanoid robots in legacy industrial environments. Whether you're leading digital transformation or navigating innovation in supply chains and operations, this episode is packed with clear, no-nonsense wisdom. Now, meet your host, Zishan Zia.
Hi everyone. Today on Factory Forward, we have Fabio Bottacci, a global expert in industrial IoT, AI, and digital transformation, with over 30
Hi
years.
everyone.
With over 30 years of leadership across energy, automotive, and manufacturing, Fabio here has advised companies like Bain and Company, Accenture, and the European Commission. He's also the founder of Vinci Digital and a thought leader helping scale industrial innovation worldwide. Fabio, again, great to have you. Thank you so much for joining us. I
Thank you
can't
for
wait.
having me,
Yeah, yeah,
Lisa.
can't wait to jump straight into questions. I'm a follower of your material online. Your all the posts that you make, and I've been keen to talk to you for a long time. Uh, so, uh,
Likewise.
yeah. So, Fabio, let me jump straight in. What were the key moments in this long and illustrious career of yours that enabled this transition into building a global strategic advisory practice that you're involved in right now, focused on industrial IoT and Gen AI?
Just trying to make it short, as a son of an engineer, but having a business administration degree and work for Accenture back in the second half of the 90s, I always had this kind of, let's say, mixed look and approach to what really is important for industrial executive companies, corporation, but always leveraging state-of-the-art technology on the shop floor. Okay, so after having my 10 years tenure as an industrial executive here in Brazil in the oil and gas sector and having a background in strategic consulting with Accenture, in 2015, 16, I just decided that I could bet on myself and starting my own company, trying to, let's say, being very practical about what industrial IoT and AI, predictive AI, just predicting at that time, could be, let's say, applied and deployed to get some really relevant results in operation, manufacturing, and several industries. So it was just a mix of who I was, the experience I had, and the timing and what was really happening at least several years before it really happened. But
Yeah.
I got that inch on time.
Right. I love that. Fabio, a lot of the audience that joins this podcast is, mid-career professionals who are looking to transition from a technical role into leadership. And I know that you think a lot about leadership and management. And so what's the advice that you would like to give to these kinds of professionals who are looking to jump from a technical or even operational role into high impact leadership and advisory positions?
Oh, let's say that my take, independently if you have a technical background or a business related background, I mean, leadership for me is leading by example. So if you start getting things done and getting results, you can start thinking of, in a, let's say, a corporation, getting the part of knowledge expertise that will complete your profile and getting at a more relevant or with a more responsibility and getting up in your management and leadership career. But independently, from my point of view, I was more focused on business. I get my skills. I got more deeply in technical, in technology, industrial IoT, AI. I did my technical courses, but there is no way if you don't want to put yourself in the game and be accountable for what you're doing, that you will never become a real leader. So that's my, let's say, real down to earth and
Mm.
practical advice to start thinking and looking forward to get to where you want.
That makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, putting oneself out there, being an example for others, you will automatically move into leadership. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. You're really down to earth advice for sure. Uh, Fabio, you've also looked into AI a lot. You were really early into IoT. What unique challenges, and I don't know if what you think about generative AI and agentic AI in industrial sectors, maybe that's also a little bit too early. What are the unique challenges and opportunities arise when generative AI and agentic AI are being deployed in industrial sectors like energy, mining, and automotive?
Yeah, let's be practical. Industrial executive and corporation are almost dinosaurs. They are waking up lately in these, let's say, 5 years, but start having, let's say, a real impact and getting trust from a really relevant digital transformation process. You need to get some results in a really, let's say, months nowadays in order to start scaling up and getting an end-to-end solution deployed. So starting from data, that which is I mean, the main, the basic, and then moving up in a modular or let's say more simplistic way, I should say that nowadays 80, 90% of relevant result at scale in industrial sector is just in brackets made by having a really nice solution in predictive maintenance, computer vision, visual inspection, or other, let's say, applications which are already mainstream. And on top of that, and it will be maybe 1 year, 2 year of digital transformation, you can have the basis to start playing around, let's say, and doing some nice pilot because you have already the basic done
Yeah.
with industrial copilot, generative AI applied to the shop floor and other, let's say, more complicated, let's say, agentic AI tasks, which could are starting to be tested, but not really at scale. So,
Mm.
but you can't even think about not doing first the basic and have your data ready, quality data, consistent data, having put on cloud, or there are a lot of industrial groups, for example, here in Ambev, the biggest brewery in the world, they work in the plant with their own, let's say, legacy system. They are on premises. They don't work on cloud for industrial copyrights, cyber attack reasons. And you need to be very, let's say, flexible in your solution. And again, once you got the basic right, you got some results, applying predictive, prescriptive. There is one testimonial from the Chief Digital Officer of Heineken last year. They say that 95% Heineken worldwide got results from predictive AI in their
Oh.
operation. They are just not even, I mean, they are for sure deploying and already testing generative AI.
Mm.
I see a lot of big corporations, Siemens already having their copilot, industrial copilot, but I think it will take 1 year or two to get close to mainstream and giving some results. But it's there. I mean,
Right.
we can't ignore generative AI also in industrial solution. Okay.
That's good to know. Yeah, one might think that these are relatively more conservative fields and verticals, so it might take longer, but I'll agree with you on that. generative AI is already beginning to have an impact in these spaces. Every vendor is certainly incorporating these capabilities within their tooling, as are we. Uh, but we are seeing deployment beginning to happen already, and you're right that it's probably going to take a year or two, but it's not something that's out by 5 to 10 years by any means.
No, no, not definitely. But the point is that maybe just having a really nice assessment planning and having the data and the quality and the historical data. I mean, you can have 90% of the industrial data nowadays. They are not really used for anything. They are lost, even if they are usually in historians or traditional. Automation, mass, or other solution. And industrial IoT and traditional industrial automation, they are not conflicting one another. They are just two parallel sources of different kind of data, which once you got ready, you can apply already mainstream off-the-shelf solution, predictive, prescriptive, and start doing very nice pilot with generative AI that will have a 90 or more percent probability to success because you already done the basic.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense. Kind of continuing on from there, Fabio, what are the lessons that manufacturers can learn from these more, whatever are the most successful real world implementations of Gen AI in operations and supply chain environments? If you think that in 1 year or 2 years, there will be larger scale deployments, it's going to start becoming real, and probably it makes sense to assume that there are some manufacturers who've already been successful with this probably. Do you or would you agree with that? Are there any lessons that the broader manufacturing community can derive from existing successful implementations, even if they are just early adopters?
Yeah, as I told you, at scale, I don't think I know any. I mean, there is a lot of hype, a lot of marketing, of course. At scale, I think we are not there yet. As you said, I'm working with some big clients here, just deploying this kind of solution, but they are still in the pilot phase.
Mhm.
What I could add on that is that when you are planning to deploy generative AI solution, industrial copilot in a corporation which has, let's say, 15, 20 plants spread all over the world, the biggest lesson is to start, of course, on a pilot, on a plant, on a production line, but already assessing, planning, and taking into consideration all the different situation, realms, system, condition of the different realities, and test as much as you can on the shop floor, on the usual process, and with the usual shop floor guys, maintenance guys, because if you don't do that from, let's say, it's a bottom-up approach. If you don't do that, if you do a top-down and you hope that it will be, let's say, easily transferable to other plant, to other production, you will lose a lot of time, a lot of money, and the biggest error is to think that you can let's say try to save some money just to be a little bit more agile and quick to do let's say to proof of concept a pilot, and then you have just a copy and paste to it. It's completely the opposite. You should be spend a lot of more money, a little bit more time in trying to get the most of the barriers of the interoperability issue, whatever, since day zero.
Yeah.
And if you tackle this in a very professional business way, telling your clients that you need to spend money in assessing and getting all the potential barrier now, you will see probably let's say 80, 90% success in deploying and at scale the results, which will be, as I can tell you, hundreds of millions of dollars per year for this corporation, and 1 or 2 EBITDA percentage point increase in the bottom line. So, I mean, it's complicated because it's always a trade-off between quick wins and mid
Yeah.
long term results. But
Yeah.
in this case, with this kind of disruptive technology implementation, if you don't do it right since day zero and you take in consideration all the potential issues, barriers, you will have a very high odd to fail.
That makes sense. That's really insightful, and I appreciate how you connected the technical piece to the operational piece and to all the way to the EBITDA. How they're connected. That's really insightful.
I'm a business guy,
Yeah,
as I
yeah,
told you.
yeah, and it shows. Fabio, again, you started out and even you went into entrepreneurship in IoT. You saw that it was way too early, 10 plus years ago. Then, eventually IoT did become a thing. It started making an impact on the floor. And now you're saying that predictive AI has also been making an impact. Probably it's, building on top of the IoT deployments. You just gave the
Sure.
example of Heineken. And you're saying that probably generative AI is going to start making an impact in the next couple of years. How do you see what happens afterwards? Agentic AI, right? Physical AI like humanoid robots. Are they expected to have, what are the impacts they're going to have? What's the timeline for agentic AI and physical AI, humanoid robots, embodied agents, whatever that means?
Yeah, I mean, there are two fascinating worlds which are really strongly correlated. Let's talk about first agentic AI, which it's a natural, let's say, development of AA agents, but it's not really the same, as you know. Um, when you think about, let's say, taking a real example, a supply chain and all the different process, actors, deadlines, not only in internal of the corporation, but inbound, outbound, agentic AI solution, which could eventually take into consideration a chunk of this process, will be probably come up. I don't really know if it will be really, let's say, a time of months or years, but it will be modularly, let's say, a natural evolution of agents, which right now there are not anymore one agent doing something. There is swarm of agents with an agent orchestration that is taking some task. So you can think of agentic AI as a more structured teams of different swarm of agents tackling an entire process of inbound logistics for a truck operation, taking care of the spare parts, whatever.
Hmm.
But this is, as you can understand, it wouldn't be so easy because it would be, of course, a lot of problems of interoperability, responsibility, cybersecurity.
Hmm.
So my take is that maybe, and probably, physical AI, which nowadays we see a lot of proof of concept, mini pilot with humanoids in automotive OEMs, figure AI in BMW plant or Amazon in their warehousing. Because the humanoids specifically, they are being developed in a space, in layouts, in plants, which was designed for humans,
Hmm.
and they are start tackling repetitive and let's say in brackets simple automotive repetitive task. I see let's say a quicker time to get starting making an impact because robotics is not since yesterday. It's been several years, 10 years that are there.
Yeah.
And the computation and the AI, agentic AI inside a CPU on a humanoid robot to do specific and repetitive autonomously tasks with computer vision. It's proven. They are doing this, and to do that in a controlled environment for a
Yeah.
specific automotive assembly or whatever, it would be easier to get results. That's thinking about a complete process, a whole process of supply. without any physical constraints and having to tackle. I mean, it's a little bit counterintuitive,
Yeah.
but if I had to bet between agentic AI as a whole for a function or for a process and physical AI with humanoids, I should bet on the second one that to start making some real damage in terms of getting results and getting productivity and cost efficiency for in the factory floor. Okay.
That's a really interesting take because it's humanoids and are a little bit controversial to some extent, but I appreciate that feedback. Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of people ask me, well, why humanoids? Why we are developing? Yes, I thought the same when
Mm.
they asked, but I mean, we have a lot of, I mean, asset plants all over the world, which was built, designed, having humans working in.
Yeah.
So the dexterity of a humanoid that will now be able to, with no cost, at least not develop 24/7 at 30, 165 days a year. I mean, that would be that is the main driver. You don't have to for greenfield. The factory of the future, completely autonomous, with no eyes. You don't need a humanoid because since day
Mm.
zero, you will have everything automated in a way in the process uh, the layouts, the materials, all will be designed in order to be managed autonomously. In which way? You don't need the robot to be let's say modeled to get into a human environment,
Yeah.
and that's what's happening right now
Yeah.
with humanoids.
That absolutely. That's really insightful. Um, Fabio, switching gears a little bit, what are the most overlooked considerations when moving from these pilot projects to scalable, enterprise-wide Industry 4.0 deployments?
I think I don't want to repeat myself, but the if you if you hope to get results in a easiest way in terms of planning, deploying in let's say just one environment, situation, plant, country,
Mhm.
and then you think that it's just a copy paste or with just minor adjustment, you are I mean set to lose a lot of money, and
Right.
so maybe the again money is the king. The upfront investment in having a serious assessment, planning, and uh, scale up plan, considering the worst scenario always will get you in a position with the best case to get what you want. And this is not easy because um, you have to get some results relatively quickly in months to get the trust from the board, from the chief digital officer, or anyone who's in charge to digital transformation in the company. Uh, Optimally, it would be the CEO, but let's see if this attitude is changing because I don't see many CEOs in charge of that nowadays. Uh, if you have that, you can probably overcome a lot of problems along the way, and you can really start scaling and getting results.
That's important. That's valuable. Okay, Fabio. Of course. So that was a great part of the conversation where we talked about technology and operations. Obviously, you're a business leader as well, and I wanted to spend some time ask some questions on that part, on that really unique part of your expertise. Uh, Specifically, you have advised both startups as well as large enterprises when it comes to adoption of Gen AI and IoT. What are the key differences in your approach when you are going to these two very different kinds of companies, startups versus large enterprises?
Yeah, I started advising at startups, and then I also help them raising funding as a venture partner. But usually, it has been easier for me working with startups in terms of usually they do not have the experience of big corporation of let's say investment committee or not written rules and as a consultant also I know exactly the power or not the power of a slide of PowerPoint. I mean, there are a lot of nuances that uh, should be in terms of startups, uh, let's say, pointed out in order to get from a really good idea to a minimum viable product to a go-to-market strategy, product market fit, to process, organization, people. And the great thing that I enjoy most with startups is working with young people. I never got old. I got my age, but I always been let's say a joker also in a corporate environment, and I like the passion, and it's easier in brackets to drive and to get these founders on the right path to succeed with my corporate experience, technology, and strategic expertise. With corporation, it depends. There are some, let's say, champions here, also here in Brazil, which they already started looking at IoT, AI, 2015 as was. Gerdau is one of the champions. InBev and Bev, of course. The board, the owner, the major shareholders, the culture of the corporation, it's a big barrier if it's really not innovation oriented. Okay, so uh, you can show them. That's what I use. Uh, Case studies. I hate the word the use case because when I was an industrial executive and I show what you could do with some solution to overcome a problem, I was already out of the meeting before it started. They wanted to know who did this, which was the results, how long did it take to get my money back. It could be seen as naive, but these drivers, at least a very high level first conversation, if you don't have it ready and getting through this initial funnel, then you don't have the initial trust to have a really detailed drill down and getting to start maybe a pilot or whatever. So just to recap, corporation, if you have an innovative attitude and you can break the first trust barrier, specifically with case studies, a client success story, nice, and you have a more structured environment, it's easier, but the first step is more difficult. And startups, it's the contrary because I really enjoy working with these enthusiasm and young people. And in a way, it's easier to drive in. But again, not every startup has got great founder, great people, because all the rest you can help. If you don't have the people, the founder, the co-founder, which follow you and get your insight as an help, a real help for them, and they see you only as an advisor or a consultant, they already lost their way at the beginning. I mean, so that's this duality for me. I can't hear you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's really interesting insight for sure. Again, kind of towards the end, I something I really wanted to ask you because I see this. Maybe you might be the only person with this convergence of different skills, or maybe you are one of the rare few people on the planet you have venture capital experience, you have emerging technology experience, you have actual manufacturing software floor, shop floor experience. How do you see the convergence of these venture capital and emerging technology and industrial strategy shaping the next wave of manufacturing innovation?
$1 million question to to finish our conversation. I don't have the crystal ball. What I can tell you is that I mean, follow the money. Okay, the venture capital hype. From one way, it's a good thing because venture capital has a, let's say, a certain level of knowledge of what technology can really do,
Yeah.
but they have all the money. And generative AI is opening a lot of funding for everyone, almost everyone. 80-90% of the new startups now money is going to AI first native startups. So this is a fact. But then uh, manufacturing sector is a traditional one. There are a lot of uh, what is happening in from the technology, from the vendor, the technology provider side is that big industrial automation corporation as Siemens, they are acquiring startups. They are trying to get an end-to-end solution with their own incumbents expertise, but also getting the most from what is on the market with startups. So I think that you need to have you don't need really a corporate venture capital or an open innovation. You should have a very nice, a very good radar on the market innovation, and but starting getting the let's say the innovation, the startup culture inside your company. Because if you don't try and if you don't let's say accept failures, which in the manufacturing industry around few years ago, you were fired if you failed anything. I mean, executives were fired. If you don't change this attitude and you don't admit that by doing this, you can have some failures, but by doing that, you will learn, you will have a speed, you will get innovative solution on your plant before competitors. You want you will miss the opportunity. And others, manufacturing companies, industrial companies, for sure, they will be doing this, and you will have a competitive advantage, a bigger competitive advantage problem later on, of course.
Thank you, Fabio. This has been a really engaging conversation, and I'm sure our listeners are going to benefit a lot from just this 30 minutes or so of conversation. I feel it's probably you learn more out of this kind of a conversation than spending a whole day at a conference or something. So thank you so much for giving us your time and for sharing all these insights.
You're welcome, Sira, and good luck to Retrocode as well. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Factory Forward. If you found value in today's discussion, don't forget to follow us on Spotify to stay updated with future episodes and share it with your network to keep the conversation going. Join us on social media using hashtag Factory Forward and let us know your thoughts. We appreciate you being part of a community that's always striving to improve, innovate, and move forward. Until next time, keep pushing boundaries and embracing new ideas. See you in the next episode of Factory Forward.